Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Randall, Rydell Russell again. We're continuing the journey we're going on with, my inspirations and tips and things like that in regards to screenwriting and what you can do to help yourself out as well. Now, with dialogue, you just got to make sure that it's natural. You got to make sure that it comes across real. You got to make sure that what they're saying is something you would actually hear somebody else say. Just listening to conversations when you're around people and just making sure it's authentic. Don't write anything that sounds forced. Like if you're writing a gangster film, like that's, Italian American, don't automatically make it sound like The Godfather. You got to really catch the ear of what they're talking about. Sometimes they could be sitting there talking about something completely different that has nothing to do with the life they live. So those are things you got to think about. Just make it authentic, make it natural. If you don't do that, it's not going to work. Now, I selected a couple films I feel like if you're just starting out or if you just kind of need to get refreshed in a way, here are a couple movies I feel like could help you out. All right, so first, you got Glenn Ross. This is my favorite David Mamet film. If you know who David Mamet is, he is one of the best screenwriters, especially when it comes to dialogue and just characters. It's like symphonies when actors are doing their thing in his movies. So, and Alec Baldwin's, he's only in this movie for maybe 10 minutes, and his entire scene is like the best thing in this movie, but yet everything in this movie is great. But yeah, this is another one. So David Mamet, Glenn Ross, directed by James Foley. You need to check this out. The king of the teen film, the king of the 80s, Breakfast Club. John Hughes is a master. He's in my top 5 favorite screenwriters. He just knew the voice of teenagers. He knew all of that, and that's what made it work. So definitely watch this movie, go on IMDb, look at his filmography, try to find some of his scripts online, and just really read how he makes all that work. So there's that. Good Will Hunting. This movie, I would say this and Pulp Fiction and a couple of the 90s independent films from the 90s like Kids, Hurricane Streets, things like that. This was the movie that pushed me to like really want to write real dialogue with real people and just not make little comedies and be serious with my acting and my writing. And Good Will Hunting, written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and they won the Oscar for this movie, by the way, if you didn't already know that. Just some great monologues in this, great character development, just interactions with characters. The whole scene with Robin Williams telling Matt Damon about how he farted and his wife farted and she woke herself up. I believe a lot of that was not in the script, but it's still fantastic. And the scene where Ben Affleck tells Matt Damon, like, every morning I wake up and I wish you're not there when we come to get you. You have something we have. You have something we don't have. And if you don't, take us, I'll fucking kill you. That's such a powerful scene because if you don't have a friend that comes to you like that, they're not a real friend. So, Good Will Hunting. Ben Affleck's written a lot more than Matt Damon has, but like I said, the two of them to write this and win an Oscar, kudos to them. Stand By Me. Based on the short story, The Body by Stephen King, of course. This was written by Reynold Gideon and Bruce A. Evans. Look them up. They wrote a lot of stuff in the 80s too that was really good. So definitely something to, they wrote Starman with John Carpenter, which is completely different from this, but, I think the depiction of childhood, and especially friendship with boys, especially around this age, is just really authentic in this film. The performances are really good, but you believe what they're saying. You believe that these are how these kids talk. So this is one I highly, recommend. Boys in the Hood, R.I.P. John Singleton. I think this was the first movie that I watched that had people that looked like me, that grabbed me without it feeling forced or like a blaxploitation film or something like that. Not that I don't like blaxploitation films. I love all black cinema. But this movie is still to this day, it's like top 5 of my favorite films of all time. But the dialogue, the interactions, the character development, this is it. Lawrence Fishburne gives, I feel like, some of the best lines he's ever given in a movie in this film. Everybody and everything in this movie is just fantastic. And last but not least, I'm sure you guys already saw this coming because why would I leave him out? There's so many other screenwriters, but I'm just talking about just character development, if that's what you're focusing on. Pulp Fiction. Tarantino is a master at that, as we all know. I think that Pulp Fiction is probably his best film, screenwriting-wise, perhaps. It's up for debate, but yeah, I saw this at a young age, just like Good Will Hunting, and I was just like, what is going on? I was too little to really know. As I got older and started watching more of his stuff, Tarantino's just a master when it comes to just everything in screenwriting, but character development, definitely that. So definitely look that up. So yeah, if you have any more tips or anything like that, you can also put something in the comments if you have any other questions. I can message you, whatever it is, if you have. And then we'll just keep going. And that concludes Tip Tuesday. More on the way. You have a good one.